Direct TV, which has no, basically it's not being seen anywhere, folks. The Warner Brothers, where's the Warner Brothers one? Where is they said as of this date and time, there is still no program schedule for the month of, February is almost up, I have no schedule for ESPN's 3D channel.
Oh, you mean the one that started last year?
Yeah, the one that started last year. They have sporadic football, I mean, they have sporadic sporting events.
They did the Masters, they did the World Cup.
Yeah, but the problem is nobody got to see the World. Remember, we were watching the World Cup and they didn't have it on 3D.
I mean, that was the biggest challenge, is they were doing it in 3D, but they had to have somewhere to show it in 3D.
And they don't.
And if the TV manufacturers didn't have it, where did they go? They went to bars to watch it?
Yeah, and the bars don't have the 3D sets because it's conducive in a bar to 3D because of the low lights, but you can't show 3D for the simple reason you're serving people drinks, and basically you don't want them rocking, because how do you tell a person is drunk from a person that's been hit by a 3D wow? So it doesn't work in the place that it's really set up to work, you know. And you know, a nightclub where they don't care if they drink too much or not, yeah, that works. But most of the stuff, the producers are not producing because the TV manufacturers have pulled back. Now the people that are manufacturing cell phones, tablets, computers, video games, all of these things are going 3D, all of them. I mean, you cannot find a video game manufacturer that isn't turning out stuff in 3D, because you know how difficult it is to make a video game into a 3D game today?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just flips a switch,
Mm-hmm.
because they're already there. You know how difficult it is to turn a Blu-ray line into a 3D line? You can flip a switch, because they're already almost there.
I know, if you look at some of those Blu-rays and some of those TVs, they do almost flip 3D.
I know, it's almost impossible to distinguish, because, you know, so, but, and then, another one too, they said that the 2D to 3D enhancement feature on television didn't work. You know, because nobody wanted to see, you know, Gomer Pyle in 3D. Or they didn't want to see, you know,
Well, you don't have to make
Lustro
all of them 3D.
No, basically, it just, when you turn your set on, you could 3D the program.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and then.
Well, that was Toshiba, the 2D and the 3D.
Yeah, but then a lot of them had, a lot of it said 2D to 3D, but the problem was, they said also, glass problem. They have an endless supply of material what the customer himself can do. Customer doesn't want to spend $125 for a pair of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, especially when you know that that you can get a set of glasses with the rental that you're picking up, and see this thing. Well, I don't understand that. They told me that you have to have a 3D TV set to watch 3D on. How am I watching this DVD on my TV set in 3D with these glasses when I don't have a 3D set? Because you can show it 3D on any TV set.
It's a broadcast signal.
And what happens with the Sony and other active shutter things is they scramble the signal, so it can the glasses basically decipher the little twinkling that they've done. People, those glasses pissed off people like you cannot believe. I saw a survey saying that 90% of the people, they are, you know, statistically not, 89.9 something of a percent, basically they used an FU on those glasses. They don't like them. You know, because, you know, they, like we put it before, almost all the 3Ds, in almost every place we've went to look for stuff, the 3D glasses are gone now. Mm-hmm. Because they first they had them there, and you know, where you could just put them on, then they put them on little display cans, then they put them in armor, they broke them all out.
And then they're no longer there.
They're no longer there, so now you're just seeing something that looks fuzzy. Because you know it's 3D because it's fuzzy. It's like the old guy.
Well, you know, go ahead.
Actually, no, this gentleman, what was his name, Len Lesser, that was played the Steinfeld's uncle. He went shopping over at the marina where we used to go. And he's talking, I guess, to his wife, and she said, "Well, how do you know that's 3D?" And he said, "Because see the extra line around it." Mm-hmm. That's how you knew it was 3D.
Well, you know, here's the funny part, is I was at a relative's house. I thought they bought a 3D TV set, because they just glanced at it.
Yeah.
No, their TV was broken.
They're broken, yeah, that's what I mean, they had to go to me, so. If you're gonna do like that in here, we had, 1948, we had 3D TV every day. You know, because, you know, basically they had like 2 channels, 3. They got rid of 3, you know, but but then it was like 2 and 3. You know what would happen at times? The
What?
signals would be sitting almost on top of
Oh.
another, and you'd be seeing Hoppy on the one and Howdy Doody on the other.
And they're all going in the same
Yeah,
movie.
and sometimes it actually looked good together, but that's how that worked. It's just a screwed up thing. I mean, we're turning out 3D movies. We got a 3D movie. How simple it is. We have a 3D movie on the whatever it is, the festival now. You know, Christmas in July, or if it's so hard to cook it, why am I cooking in a microwave?
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting we've got 3D. We got 3D music video in clubs in Europe right now. We're getting more stuff done on a weekly basis. So if we can do it, and we are the little guys, you know, there's other people our size that can do it also, and they're going to kick the rear ends of the people in Culver City and in Burbank, because you do not have to spend $275 million to turn out a good 3D movie. We're getting ready to turn out a 3D movie. And we're getting ready to do what we call noir theater in 3D, which is going to be like the old-fashioned noir, where basically, you know, because it's situated well, because the camera didn't do a damn thing. Camera just sat and people would walk towards the camera, you know, because they didn't have any money in those budgets. So they call it dark, because they didn't have any light. Film noir means dark film.
Ooh.
Which means you can do a 3D noir film by doing it at night in the dark. And they say, well, you can't shoot 3D in the dark. We have.
Yeah.
We have. Really gives you one great spooky effect.
Oh, actually, that's true. I did the LA's Haunted House. I also just did the party, which I have to put up.
Yep.
From the Nivea's Grammy party.
It can be done in 3D. And it gives you a noir look, which is basically that, you know, I mean, if Robert Mitchum was alive right now, he'd recruit Robert Mitchum to, at 86 to do his noir type stuff. But no, we can do it. But the big people, they cannot understand that $200 million means you're going to make a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a movie for considerably less. Like they said, was it one of the 3D movies things they did? Well, they did. The last of the Mila Jovovich thing, the last movie they did, Resident Evil, that was done in 3D. It made X amount of dollars, and then makes a god-awful amount of money in DVD sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it. If you keep the cost low, I mean, when I was in school, I mean, a gentleman from, let's see, what was it, Bank of America I talked to about getting a loan to make a movie. He said, yeah, your figures are all right. And he said, you know, and you can't possibly lose on that budget, because, you know, the ancillary sales will cover it with no problem. So it's a gimme. You should be able to get anybody to make a loan, but I'm sorry, we can't. And they said, well, we won't loan unless it costs $10 million.
Uh-huh.
He said, now, if you pad the budget by $9,
I know.
we can give you the loan. They said, yeah, but it can't make any money back that way. And he said, well, we don't give a damn.
I know. I mean, talk about making sense.
They doesn't care. He said it has to be over a set amount of money. They'll make the loan knowing that the movie can't have, the more money you spend, there is a rule of thumb in Hollywood. There are only so many movies make $100 million a year. They're now turning out like 200 to 300 movies that cost $100 million a year, knowing that less than 30 or 40 are going to make that money back.
Mm-hmm.
That's not business sense. It's business nonsense. So the little guys are going to carry the 3D market, because the little guys are driving ancillary. I mean, everything at the Consumer Electronics Center, once you got away from the big places, I mean, you're talking, they got 3D everywhere. You got guys telling you how to convert your camera. We can convert any camera into a 3D camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it was,
That's right. We were going to play with our bloggies today.
we're going to play with the blog. We're going to set bloggies up and do 3D today too. So, but we're going to keep talking about the nonsense in 3Ds. If the Metropolitan Opera is going to 3D, it's sort of ridiculous for the TV manufacturers.
I know. What is the deal with that?
They basically, well, you'd think they remember the Democratic Party. They formed a circle and shot one another in the foot, because they started something that's actually catching on. Because, like Peter Gruber said specifically, I was watching him on one of the business shows, he said, that it is a bean counter driven event now, because they can see that they can make more money in 3D than they can in the other way. And even if it costs more money to make, the chances of success are far greater than the chances of success in 2D. So they're pushing the bubble, and it's going to continue. It said it will level out, but it will level out to where there's going to be remember, there were no 3D movies being made. If it levels out to where it's 20 or 30 a year, that's like a 200-300% increase, 1,000.
Well, and here's the other part, if you're still talking 20 or 30 movies, it's
Yeah.
only 52 weeks out of the year.
Yeah, there's more. They're bringing in. Okay, I think there's almost 5,000 3D theaters in the United States now capable of doing it. They're rewiring. What's just funny? I know. Here's a good one. Panasonic's money is coming on the 3D thing from rejiggering theaters and stuff for 3D.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Panasonic is involved heavily in the rejiggering of standard theaters. So Panasonic has a big investment the wrong direction. Do they really have the 3D cameras, those other ones out there? No. Do they have the 3D TV sets? They have one. No. But they're rewiring the world for 3D.
But you know, they're huge in 3D in China.
Oh yeah, but the problem comes in China is that they're expecting to have tens of millions of 3D sets there this year. When you have 1.9 billion people, 10 million, that doesn't statistically even register. That's the problem. The last time I looked, they had the latest count was like 175 TV stations wired for 3D. Which basically means they just flip a switch, it's a broadcast signal, you can show 3D on any system. But I mean,
I think I've heard that before.
yeah, they said that unfortunately the Chinese are great at stealing things, but they're not great at innovation. So somebody probably told them, well, you have to have these devices. We went to NAB 2 years ago. They were selling stuff for 3D. I went back last year. Isn't that the 2D stuff you were selling last year? So, yeah, we're selling it as 3D stuff today because said anybody that knows anything knows that you can send a signal on any of this equipment. Didn't nothing special. Just, you pick up any camera, you can basically, if you got a 3D video sitting in front of you on a screen, you can sit there and broadcast that 3D video down the system all the way to every television set you've got, including an active shutter set. And all the active shutter does is it takes your 3D signals, and then the glass is, oh, look, it's no longer. So I guess we're gonna keep harping on this
I
once
know.
a week.
Well, and part of it is it changes a little bit every time because there's always new developments in 3D.
Yeah.
In fact, today we actually shared quite a few new things, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep it up because what sparked it today, this day's thing, was that the Metropolitan Opera is going to be doing a 3D show. And we're assuming that we noted I know that there's a Broadway show coming that's going to have a lot of 3D elements in it, which means people are going to be sitting for 2 to 3 hours. I'm figuring it's moving to Vegas besides the nightclubs. You can almost bet that the shows are going to start having 3D in them because they were the first to develop lasers. So
Are they doing 3D in porno yet?
Yeah,
I think they started doing it
porno.
about a month ago. Yeah, and the reason I ask that is a lot of times the porn industry is at the forefront in technology when it comes to entertainment.
No, the 3D porn people, they said it was going to be HD DVD because HD DVD is nothing more than a moderation of the line.
Yeah, but part of it, because they adopted HD, that's why everything was going towards HD at the beginning.
Yeah. Because they didn't adopt Blu-ray, period, because Blu-ray's too god-awful expensive to use.
Well, also the HD people came to see them.
Well, yeah, so
it makes a difference.
Yeah, but they never went to Blu-ray. They just stayed with HD because HD is basically can be used anyway. But they're doing 3D because they can do 3D on a cost-effective basis, and it does. Say people will sit there and, God, look at that, you get that look at that, and it basically enhanced the career of some of the people who are starting to go down backwards because they're really put together well for 3D.
Yes.
No, but they are now into 3D, but they're into 3D, I think, download, which, well, how can you do a 3D download? Because it's a signal.
Imagine that.
They know it's a signal. The only people that don't know it's a signal are the people that make TV sets. So I guess until next time, this is Old
And
Jim.
this is not a spring chicken. We're here yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And for more information, you can always go to.
www.montybubbles.net on the net.
And wherever you're watching us, subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, and thank you once again for over 40 million links on the internet.
And be certain to come see Christmas in July when it comes to your local theater. Or go dance to Sea Country Slide. We're really promoting ourselves more, folks.